and will literally chunk her across the river. Sorry about that break, but the storage in the camera that I'm using had run out. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the last two lines, and then we're going to read the next section, which you can see is 557 through 569. So this is a translation and recording discussion of the Aeneid, Book 11, 555 through 556 to finish up that section, and then we'll read one more section. So, sorry again for that, but sometimes things happen out of our control. So, let's keep going. So, it said, as I before, to the spear he ties his daughter, having been enclosed in that ancient bubble wrap, bark and woody cork, and he ties round, circum legat, the easily handled thing. Habilis means easily handled, and that's the baby, because she's so small, to the middle spear. That'd be the shaft of the spear. Which, and so again referring to the baby, he brandishing, he handling with his huge right hand in such a way he speaks for fari fatasum, to the ether, to the air. He's going to offer up a prayer for his daughter. So we continue on to read 557 through 569. And so it says, Alma Latonia Virgo, O kind, nourishing Latonian virgin, the cultivator of the groves, again, Nemus Nemoris, I, myself the father, dedicate or vow this gal to you as a dedicatee, as a devotee, as a maidservant, as it were. Kind of like in the medieval period, to where a family would sometimes dedicate their little child to a monastery, to a nunnery, as an oblate, and they would be then raised from their earliest days. A great example of this is the famous Hildegard of Bingen, who in the 12th century, at like age 7, was given over to a life of being that of a nun. And so that is exactly the kind of thing that we have going on here, dedicating her to Diana, should Diana come through and help guide this spear across the river that is going to indeed be chunked. And so, as a suppliant holding your first weapons, she, referring to this little baby flying through the air, flees the enemy through the breezes, because she's just whistling through the air. Receive your, and then imply that famulam again. Receive your dedicatee. I attest it, O goddess, in the vocative case. Your dedicatee, your oblate, to use that term from the medieval period, which is committed now to the dubious breezes. The reason why they are dubious breezes is that he throws it, don't know where it's going to end up, because it might necessarily go awry, it might have a wind gust that makes it off course, etc. He spoke dixit from dico, dicere, dixi, dictus, and he sends, emitted that hurled spear, the spear having been hurled with his lacerto, with his arm drawn back. An adductor muscle is the muscle that draws back your limb. And nevertheless, the waves, they made a sound, did make a sound, alternate ending here for erunt ere, and above the rapid river. And so the reason why that's important that the waves are making sound, it's a flooded river, it's a fast-flowing river. It's great danger that she's got to be able to make it across on that arrow in that ancient bubble wrap, that bark and that woody cork, as it were. And so above the rapid river, the unlucky Camilla, because I mean, as a baby, really, do you want to be tied to a spear and have your life perhaps in danger? No. She flees on the screeching, present active participle modifying, javelin or spear. But Metabus. Now, with the large crowd, gang, coterie, whatever you would like, pressing on, urging more closely, so they're right on his heels. He's already sent the actual spear across. He gives Dodari Dedidatus himself to the river. He jumps in, and as a victor, he's successful. He's not caught. He plucks that spear with the little virgin. And so why are we referring to a little baby as a little virgin? Because from this point forward, when he is promised to dedicate her to Diana, that's what she is. Because that's what she is going to be. One of the virginal followers of Diana. And so as a victor, he plucks that spear with that virgin, the gift of Diana. And so another aspect or another manifestation of Diana is that of the goddess Trivia, from the grassy clod. And so she had made it across. She had obviously not been plucked down into the waters, but rather came down stuck in the dirt, in the clod, and he then pulls it out. Known. So, not any cities received that guy in their houses, ablative, nor not did they receive him in their walls. He is shunned by everybody, and he himself did not, or not did, he himself had not given his hands ferritate to wildness, as it were. And so, what does this mean? Well, it's saying that he's going to have to live a life completely devoid of the comforts of civilization, because he is rejected by all the sorts of cities that might have him in. And so he had given, he himself, his hands to wildness. I don't think that Nekwe is negating that, because that is what he does do. And so I don't understand necessarily how to interpret it, but I'll come back to it and we'll see if we cannot figure it out. Let's finish this last line. And he did drive Ago Agre, his life, that is what your Iwam is, in the lonely mountains of the pastures, in the lonely mountains of the wildernesses, as it would have been. Here is the interpretation. I think I finally got it right. And I omitted the fact that obviously it is a subjunctive, and so I think is what it's implying. Otherwise, he would not have given his hands to wildness. And so let's go back with that better interpretation. I apologize. Not any cities received that guy, Metabus, in their walls. Not any cities, or I should say houses, not any cities received him in their walls. And he himself would not have given his hands to wildness. In other words, had he been received in by these cities, he would have obviously accepted that and not led this life completely feral and wild. And he drove a life in the lonely mountains of the pastures of the wildernesses, whatever you would like. But they are indeed a life that will then lead to Camilla becoming what she is as a complete dedicatee of Diana. So keep studying and good luck.